Pastry School and to this webinar. Today we're going to be showing you how to make a pineapple lime creme brulee, and I'm going to be answering your questions live, and we're going to be rolling through everything you need to know to produce this kind of stuff at home. And it's a lot easier than you expect with the right recipes, and we're just going to show you how. So let's get started. So all of you have recipes that you've got in PDFs you should have received by email. So the first thing we're going to do is going to take, for the brulee, lime juice and pop it on the stove. Just going to bring that up to the heat. We've also got our cream, our eggs and our sugar. And little moulds we've got here with cling film around the outside, and we just cut one half of the cling film off just to stop the mix from seeping out, and on a little tray. And you're also going to need a whisk. So we've got Karen and Sarah, Vida, hello Vida, Raki, Zoe and Dan online. And Karen says, can you change the flavours of the brulee? Yes, absolutely, you can change the flavours of the brulee. I would stick to doing things that are more citrusy, since we've got a fair amount of sugar. So I stick to maybe lime, lemon, pineapple, grapefruit, something like that. But if you're going to do something like strawberry, something a little bit sweeter, then I would just reduce the sugar levels a little bit, maybe half at least. And that comes from touch. Swap the pans over because that doesn't work in induction. That's better. Right. So first thing you do is just whisk the eggs and the sugar together. And you want your oven to be on about 90 degrees for this preset. Those of you who have the PDFs will already know, because you already read them. So just going to warm up the lime juice. You can mix this cold, but what will happen is it'll just take longer in the oven. So it always does help just to bring up the lime juice beforehand. Just speeds up the process by a massive amount. So you've got your boiled lime juice with the zest inside. Pour in the cream. And just going to mix the two together, the eggs and the sugar, and the cream and the lime juice. And bring it together, and then we've got here as well a sieve and a jug. We're just going to pass out the zest. It also helps as well because it will just take out any of the egg whites, any bits and pieces that are inside, any stray bits, and make the mix nice and smooth. Just put that through the sieve. Squeeze it. Just squeeze out the lime zest as well just to get most of it. And Vida says, can you make the brulee the day before? Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't probably make it more than 2 days in advance, but day before is absolutely fine. Just leave it in the fridge to set after you've cooked it, and it'll be perfect next day as well. And sometimes using the whisk, you can get a few bubbles on the top. So we just take a blowtorch that we're going to use for caramelizing later, but just run it over the top very quickly, just to take off any extra bubbles without burning the kitchen. And that will just pop any bubbles on the top. And then you take that tray and pop it into the oven. put that in at 90 degrees for about 15 minutes, but it just depends on the size of your mould. So if you've got something that's really deep, it's going to take longer. If you've got something shallower, it's going to take less time, but it all depends on that. So I'm going to show you when it comes out, the consistency you're looking for, so you can judge how long you need to be in the for. The next thing we're going to do is make a white chocolate cream, which is basically what we call a whipped ganache. So what we've got here is some cream in a pan, some double cream in the bowl, some cold cream, a little bit of white chocolate. All we're going to do is put this first pan on the stove to warm up. And we're just going to make a ganache with these two, with the cream and the chocolate, and then we're going to pop in the cream afterwards. So just going to bring that up to the boil. Sarah, what is a ganache? A ganache is basically a mixture of chocolate and cream. So we use it a lot for filling truffles and the sort of stuff you get in the middle of pralines. But today we're going to make the ganache first, using the hot cream and the chocolate mixed together, and then add some cream to it after, so it'll whip up. Because if you boil the cream and make a ganache straight away, it won't whip, because boiled cream doesn't whip. Just going to bring that up to heat. And I've got a nice shallow tray here as well. So once it's made, you put it in the shallow tray, rest it in the fridge so it's cold, and it should make it a lot quicker doing it in a much shallower tray. Try to answer as many questions as possible as you got during the webinar. I'll try to answer them live. But if we don't get around to it, just leave them with us, and we'll definitely get back to you within the next 24 hours by email. And saying that, we've got Raki, I think you're saying that right. So saying when you're baking, do you use salted or unsalted butter? Depends. I mean, normally I'd stick to using unsalted butter and add the butter to it, and add the salt to it, because then you've got a bit more control. But to be honest, if there's salt in the recipe and you've got unsalted butter, it's just a pinch, and you've got salted butter, I tend to just leave the salt out and use salted butter. It saves a bit of time. But I mean, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. It just depends if you add it or not. So all I've done there is just to boil the cream and pop over the chocolate. And then we're going to let that cool down a little bit first, because obviously add our cold cream straight into the ganache, it's still warm. We might melt some of the fat that's still in the cream, and then it will stop it from whipping up too much. So we're just going to let that cool down slightly. The chocolate would have cooled down most way, but it's still a little bit warm, so you just want it to be room temperature or just slightly warm, not too hot. So we're going to pop that to one side for a sec. And then what you've also got on your recipes is the recipe for the ginger granola. All of the dry ingredients literally go straight into a bowl, which you see in your recipe. And I've got some melted butter here. And literally all you're going to do is just add the two together. It is that simple. Just going to bring it together with a wooden spoon, just so you've got like a sandy kind of soil consistency. Also got Zoe. Wow. Oh, Georgie says, where can you get a blowtorch? One of these. So this is a blowtorch. You can get them. This one, for me, get from a cooking shop. But if you go into Sainsbury's, Tesco, most supermarkets have got little small ones, and that's perfectly fine as well. You can use those. This one just happens to be a bit more powerful, as you saw by the flame. So I'm just going to bring this together. It's kind of a sandy consistency. See there, it's a little bit sandy, but it's not paste and it's not too dry either. Put that back in. And then all we're going to do is just spread it out onto a tray. I use this as well. I use this for crumble toppings a lot. So if I got an apple crumble or something like rhubarb crumble, I'll just put on my mix in the bottom and then sprinkle this over the top. And with the ginger and the salt, it's just a lot better. It's a lot nicer than just using plain old crumble mix. We've got the brulees in that oven, and normally what I do is wait until they're cooked, take them out, chill them, and then put this in while they're in the fridge. But since today we're doing this live, I'm going to pop this into a separate oven. Use about 160 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. About 10 minutes in, I'm just going to move it around a little bit, just stop it setting in a sheet, and then we're going to have like a nice chunky granola. So next thing we're going to do is just finish off that cream. Just got a ganache here, which is just a little bit less hot now. Slightly warm, but it's not boiling. I'm just going to pop in cream. And that cold cream is what will allow it to whip up at the end and give us a nice white chocolate cream, but nice and light. And then bring that together. Yeah, pour that into my tray. And just pop it in the fridge to set, let it rest, let it cool down. Or just pop a little bit of cling film over the top or a lid, and just pop it into the fridge. So the last thing we're going to do as well is have some pineapple. My board here. So just going to chop some pineapple and make small balls to dress the plate with. And we're also going to soak it in a little bit of Malibu syrup. So here I've got a little bit of water and sugar that we've boiled on the stove. Just bring it up to the boil to dissolve the sugar. All the details are in your recipe, so you'll be able to see. And then once it's boiled and cooled down, our 50-50 sugar, I'm just going to add a little bit of Malibu to the mix. And that's going to be like our soaking syrup for our pineapple. Got left in the brûlée. 7 minutes. Right, so with the pineapple, just going to take the tops off. And then just peel down the sides. Also got a YouTube channel where we show you how to do all this kind of stuff. How to prep basic fruit, how to do all basic skills. It's the Online Pastry School. So check our channel out. Just going to bring this all the way down the sides. That's it. And then I'm going to just pop this in here. Yeah, before anyone asks, this is a Parisienne scoop, also called a melon baller. And all we do is just pop it in here and twist, and you'll get nice little round balls. Matt, yes, I knew you were going to ask that question. So basically where I get these from, they're just about £2. I pick them up in Sainsbury's, Tesco, something like that. You can pick them up. They're also in cooking shops, but I'd probably just get them in a normal supermarket because they're a lot cheaper. As in a cook shop, you probably pay about £12 for it, but in a supermarket, probably 2, 3. So that's where I'd go. Just going to twist a few out. If you're not going to use the rest of the pineapple, what I do is probably cut chunks instead, so you don't do too much wastage. But what I do with the once I've taken the balls out, take the flesh off and blitz it up, use it for like smoothies or puree, sorbet, whatever we need to. So keep this for later. And then all we're going to do with our pineapple is just pop it into a little bowl and then just soak it with a little bit of our Malibu syrup. Normally we would compress that, so in a restaurant we would take it into a bag and put it into a backpack machine so that it seals all the air out and really compresses it, but not many people have those at home, so we're just going to soak it for now. So 5 minutes left. Okay, so a couple of questions while I was waiting for the creme brulee. So, how many years have you been a chef? So I've been a chef now for 12 years. And if you check out our website, on the homepage, with the bios there of me and the rest of the tutors are all on there. Also with our online courses and any information you need. Anything else you need to know, just send us an email. What else we got? Bethany, what brands of baking equipment is the best? For me, I mean, the supermarket ones are absolutely fine. I would definitely, if I was at home, I'd definitely lean towards going to the supermarket and getting tins and stuff because it's super cheap. But if you want some professional equipment, there is Nesbitt's in London and also around the UK, which is like a professional supplier. But they also open to public as well, so that's the best place to go, but it is quite expensive, so it's up to you. Schweiter, am I saying that right? Schweiter? What is your favourite thing to cook? I get this question all the time. So the first course that we did was a course on an apple mousse that looked like an apple. So what we do is we make it into a sphere, dip it, and then paint it so it looks similar to an apple when they use the stalk and everything, and it's all edible. And that was the first course we did because that was the thing I used to get asked about the most, but it is the thing I enjoy making the most. So that's our first course. If you actually check out our online courses page, you better see it on there, and there's a full video course on how to produce that. What else we got? What cream do you use for the white chocolate cream, Zoe? So basically the cream I was using a minute ago was double cream, but you can use whipping cream as well, which is probably a little bit better because it's less likely to split, but double cream will make it a lot thicker. But yeah, probably would recommend using whipping cream, but that right there was double cream. I've also got, when we're plating, I picked up some flowers and also some Thai basil from Borough Market. These you probably won't find in too many supermarkets, but you can find them in Whole Foods and yeah, definitely Borough Market, they've got lots in there. We use these a lot to finish dishes off, but the mistake that most people use is they take the most random flavours and start whacking them on dishes. But this here, obviously we've got a lime brûlée, so we're going to use basil, which goes really well with that, and some plain viola flowers. Just kind of gives it that extra wow factor when you're plating up, and also just a little bit more flavour and something a little bit different to add to the dish. So let's check your granola. Right, it's going to be a little bit longer. So the brûlée is about 5 minutes off. Same with the granola. Got our white chocolate cream in the fridge, pineapple soaking, flowers there. And you can take maybe a few more questions. Yes, pretty good time to tell you about our group courses. So in this kitchen we run courses twice a month where we'll be showing you how to do dishes like this at home. That's your granola. So it's showing you how to do dishes like this at home, and we're going to spend some time with you in here. There'll be 2 coaches every time, one-to-one with you, showing you how to produce the recipes that we do in freshfield kitchens, but how to do them at home. And this is a good example of it as well, where those recipes aren't particularly difficult to make, but everyone thinks it's it's inaccessible. But we'll show you how to do it just here, and it's in Greenwich. But if you can't make it to Greenwich, we also have all online courses, and we'll be filming the day as well, so you'll be able to catch up with that online. Also, what we've got as well is one-to-one sessions. So if you have any questions, anything specific, anything you want to ask, or you want to spend some time with one of our tutors, either David, Talia, or myself, you can book in online to do one-to-one sessions. It's only £15, just sit with you for half an hour and go through any questions you have, anything that's bugging you. What else have we got? How long are the group courses, Becca? So, Becca, basically the courses that we run here are 9 to 5. So we run them pretty much all day, but also we have breakfast and lunch as well. And then we're working with you all day long to go through a set of different dishes you can do at home. But don't blame us if it runs over a little bit. 5 o'clock is, maybe 5:30. Don't hold me to that. So now we've got the brûlée. Turn the timer off so it gets buzzed in the face. So basically what we're looking for is just for it to look a bit like a jelly. So it wobbles a little bit. Most people cook it until it's just completely solid, but it's just overcooked. So you want to just take it out just when it bounces. If it looks quite sloshy, then it's not ready. But if it's just bouncing like that, then you're completely ready to go. And I'm just going to pop these in the fridge to cool down before we start plating. And this is our white chocolate cream. This one I made a little bit earlier, just so that it was cool just in time for this. We're going to start plating literally right now. So pop some cream there with a bowl, and you just need a little whisk. What you're going to do is just take your set cream, just pop a little bit into a bowl. And then just give it a whisk. It won't need long, just give it a little bit of a whisk just to thicken it up a little bit. And it will go quite thick. It's just about piping. You want to stop before you start to see it split. It will split quite easily. But you just got to run the whisk through it just until it becomes thick enough just to pipe onto a plate. So it's just about holding its shape there. And then what we've got here is a piping bag. You can use disposable ones or reusable ones. But these ones we get in a roll, it's like £3 or something to get a roll. And there's about 100 on there, so I definitely recommend that. Those you can definitely get from those bits. Just pop it into your piping bag. Whenever you use a piping bag, I always roll the sides down. Some people, they open it up at the top and start trying to fill from the top, and it's all dripping down the sides over the hands. And yeah, it's not pretty. So just roll back the sides, and then when you roll it back up, it's nice and clean and contained. So, cream there. And you roll up, it's nice and clean. I'm just going to nip the end off. So we've got that, so that's ready to go. Got a plate just here. So I would maybe leave the brulees in for a bit longer, but I think I'm going to chance it. Take one out. Yeah, it's only had a few minutes in the fridge, but they do set up really quickly. So what we're going to do is take the cling film off the bottom. Pop it into the middle of the plate upside down. And then just use a little bit of sugar on top. Some people use blends of sugar. They say, oh, you've got to use 25% of this and 15% of this and that and Madagascan sugar, and then caster sugar is perfect. Just straight up caster sugar. As long as you've got a nice even layer, you won't have a problem. Just take off any excess sugar. Like that, and then just gonna run the blowtorch around the outside just to loosen it from the case. That's it, and that should just come off. Go. So that comes off cleanly, and then all you're going to do is just run the blowtorch around the top and get the light. Great. Do you have a light to do? Just going to source a lighter from somewhere else because it's decided to play out for the first time in 3 years. And we got, yeah, some matches. Brilliant, thank you very much. Old ways save the day. So if you buy a really expensive blowtorch that doesn't work, you can always use some matches. And break them as well. I feel like in the 1800s. Oh, come on, man. Yay! There we go. Okay, back on track. So, what we're going to do is just run the blowtorch around in circles and just slowly caramelise the sugar. No, but that's fine. So Bethany says, is this going to melt? Are you at risk of melting it if you go too hard? No, because you're thinking more of panna cotta. And there's nothing in here that will really melt because this is set using egg yolks and eggs. So you can run the heat over as much as you want, really. But when it comes to, say, if you're trying to glaze a panna cotta, it's set with gelatin, so that's what the thing that's going to melt. But brûlée is absolutely fine. Just going to slowly go over in circles. If you try and keep it running in a circle motion, then you could get a much more easy, much more even heat. And don't rush this too much. You don't need to go super fast. Just keep it back. Nice colour on it. Just let the sugar do the work. You can pop a little bit of green colour in as well to the mix if you want in the brulee, just to make it a little bit more like limey. But I prefer to keep it a little bit natural. You know, naturally lime juice isn't green, like bright green, so I tend to steer away from making these look not very natural. Just run over the edge. Once the chicken is caramelised all over the top, I'm just going to pop that into the fridge for like 2 minutes, just because at the moment you've got white chocolate cream here, which is going to melt, and the edge of the brulee we've been burning, it's going to be quite hot. So if you start to pipe on, it's going to melt all over the plate. So just going to pop the plate in the fridge for a few seconds, or 2-3 minutes. And so we've got here, we've got granola, got our pineapple, flowers, white chocolate cream. And this is kind of sandy. I normally plate with maybe the bigger bits, and then use the sandy ones just to come off a little bit. But you can also use this for crumble toppings, use it for holding ice cream, use it for most things. Even rice pudding on the top, a little bit of rice pudding with some the ginger oats, and a little bit of pineapple mango compote, something like that. It's always really nice. I'm trying to keep track of the questions, but it's sort of going up a little bit, so don't worry if you ask questions today, I definitely will get back to you. Just, within the next 24 hours, I'll get back to you. Just need to go through the questions at the end. So we've got Sarah and Karen, Zoe, hi Zoe. So, yeah. Great, so Oliwa, am I pronouncing that right? I'm not quite sure. Is saying, do you make courses in Ghana? Assuming, I mean, do you run courses? We do online courses, so they're available all over the world. So wherever you are in the world, you can get hold of them. But our actual physical courses, where we run with our tutors, they're done in our Greenwich kitchen, which is in London. So, but get in touch if you want. We can do a recording of the day. That will be available online as well. So you'll be able to see that. Cherry. So where do you get the flowers from? Like just said before, we normally go to Borough Market, but you can pick them up in places like Whole Foods and then maybe supermarkets as well, like Waitrose. But I'm not completely sure, but definitely Borough Market and most definitely Whole Foods. So let's check our plate. Just a little bit warm. Just going to pop this in the freezer for 10 seconds. Okay, so just had a few seconds in the freezer just to blast it, just to make sure the plate isn't too hot. You always just check to make sure there's no melting going on. And that should be fine. So just going to pipe around the brulee with a little bit of cream. It's always nice when you're plating to have a central piece of something, whatever you've got in the middle, it's mousse or brulee or something like that, and then just plate around it and just do small pieces of the garnish. I'm going to use some of this pineapple as well. And the best thing, if you know you're going to do this dish the day before, I'd probably leave that pineapple in the fridge overnight, just let it really soak up the Malibu. And then bit of crunch as well. We're going to use some of the bigger pieces from the granola. And finally, just going to finish it off with a little bit of flowers. So you use a few of these viola flowers. Just pick the nice ones. You can use the whole ones. I normally take the stems off as well because that's not very nice to eat. The actual leaves themselves, the actual petals themselves, are pretty much tasteless. But then you get the little bit bitter at the bottom. So I'm going to take the stalk off. Just use a variety of colours. And this is really the thing that makes the difference. Like this will be something, if you're doing this for a dinner party or at home, then this will be the thing that kind of gives it that restaurant feel. Putting these really nice, delicate basil leaves on. Just nip off the stalks. You can stand them up in the cream to make sure they're nice and high. They're not facing upwards. And yeah, like I said as well, try and keep it relevant. So this is basil, so it'll go really well with the lime. But don't put anything on there, like we get things like sweet corn cress and stuff like that. It looks lovely, but I wouldn't recommend putting it on desserts. So that's our finished creme brulee with ginger crumble, a little bit of white chocolate cream and marinated Malibu pineapple. So if you want to learn to do dishes like this, home, family, friends, whatever like that, we've got our group courses that we run twice a month. You can see that on our website, the link is below. And come spend the day with us and we'll teach you how to do all the stuff like this. 3 or 4 desserts from restaurant recipes that you can do at home. And I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Any questions you have, leave them here. I promise I'll get back to you within the next 24 hours. And I hope you enjoyed and see you soon.